Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
It's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. We're going to talk about The Little Mermaid. The Rotten Tomatoes reviews are starting to trickle in, and so are the predictions for the Chinese box office, and it's not good.
No.
It's really not good.
It's really not good.
I mean, like really bad. So we're going to talk about all of this. Now, look, to be completely fair, China seems to be over Disney at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
They are. They're just over Disney. Other than Avatar.
I didn't check. Was the American box office thing about the same?
I'm hearing between 90 and 112 million.
That's for the 3-day.
Yeah, for 3 days.
And then for the 4-day, it's still
Like
the 110
120.
to 130 or whatever. 120
Whatever. Yeah. Now, look, the reviews aren't the worst thing ever, but as some outlets are pointing out, it's worse than 7 of the other live action remakes. None of these are good, except I personally think The Jungle Book was pretty good.
Yeah. Now the reviews, I can tell you, they're all like Halle Bailey. They go on two camps. They're either, Halle Bailey's still good, but the rest of the movie's or they're in the camp of, yeah, it's the best thing ever because, we said so. I don't think you're allowed to say it's not good.
You're not allowed to say it's not good. If you say it's not good, you're a bigot, so we can't do that.
Well, even Inside the Tragic, I put it up on Twitter. They're already going on about it's going to be okay until it's review bombed. And I was like, audience scores are artificially, manipulated both up and down by groups of people, right? It's not just one way or the other. I mean, at this point, you can't really even go by that because if it's a hot topic, hot button film, it's gonna go up or down depending on, certain factions trying to sway it either way.
Right. So let's talk about all this drama before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Check us out on Rumble too. We're out on Rumble. We're on YouTube. We're spreading out all over the place. So where should we start? Should we start with the review, the scores?
Yeah, let's go with that, and then we'll talk about the Chinese box office. We're also going to mention the Chinese poster because everybody keeps bringing it up.
Yeah, we're
should we tear the Band-Aid off that now?
Yeah.
Let's just do that because everybody keeps asking, what about the Chinese poster? Okay, here's the thing about the poster everybody's having a hissy fit about. The poster is the IMAX poster. It was the American release IMAX poster. It's the poster for the IMAX theaters. It was brought out. It was revealed a month ago. It's the poster for that theater chain. Now, when we're seeing these, like you went to the one tweet, you went there, and then you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't have IMAX on it.
Yeah, it does when you click on it.
But when you click on it,
but if you go to the thumbnail,
they're cropping it down. But yes, when you go to the actual image, it does IMAX is on there because it's the IMAX poster. Now, that doesn't mean that they aren't using it a lot in China.
Yeah, which they, look, and again, we're trying to be devil's advocate here.
No, I'm just trying to be fair.
Avatar was a pretty big hit, right?
Oh, I was joking. I was like, the blue people go over really well in China.
She's blue.
Yeah. I'm like, but it's the IMAX poster. So it's and when you see the poster, everybody's talking about, unless they crop it off, it almost always has IMAX on it. Yeah. Because that's what it was for. There is a poster in China that is the American version of the poster as well, with her sitting on a rock. But people said they see this one more often. I'm not saying that's not true. But what I'm saying is the poster was for IMAX, and that's probably why you're seeing it.
Objectively speaking.
Right. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be like every other outlet we accuse of like manipulating stuff and then we turn around and do the same thing.
But I'm saying objectively speaking, I think this is a more striking
I agree.
image.
I think that's a better poster.
I think it's a much better poster. This looks like a DVD box cover. Like this is like the Blu-ray box cover right here. And then this looks like an actual theatrical poster. Just my personal opinion.
Actually, from this poster, what it looks like to me, like they're hiding the other characters more than hiding Ariel. She still looks black.
Yeah, she still looks. I mean, are they gonna pick one that they think is gonna probably sell the movie better? Probably.
But everybody already knows.
Everybody knows.
And it doesn't matter.
They're making fun of it in China.
It's still failing in China. It's still failing in China.
So It doesn't matter. So let's talk about that because these things are all kind of interrelated here. Well, I guess we were going to talk about the Rotten Tomatoes, and then we'll talk about the Chinese box office. So Rotten Tomatoes scores are in, the embargo's up. A lot of people have muted praise for it.
Yeah, it's very mixed. It's at 70%. It was at 50, and then it went up to like 72, and now it's at 70. It's kind of just staying there.
So this is the thing, right? 6 out of 10. So Rotten Tomatoes is weird in the fact that you can give a very muted
60% still considered fresh. Where around here that's considered failing, but okay.
Yeah, the music is still exceptional, yes, because it was written many years ago. But this modernization can't come close to capturing the magic of its 3-decade-older inspiration.
6 out of 10, fresh.
Yeah, how's that fresh? The production of The Little Mermaid reveals the shortcomings of these adaptations. Not a single shot looks like they're actually underwater. Ouch. One of the better reimagined live-action Disney remakes, because it stays true to the source material, kind of. Features a terrific cast and provides just enough magic, adventure, and romance to weather the storm. That doesn't sound glowing. It sounds like it's the least rotten turd of all the turds that the mouse has shat out lately. Yes.
It's funny to me, though, because a lot of people that are not giving it good scores are a lot of people who are giving scores are men, but a lot of them are women and not white women.
Yeah. Aisha Harris, NPR. This is not only is it a black woman, but we've got somebody running for NPR, which we know they lean very far left. My nostalgia for the 89 Little Mermaid movie, I can quote by heart, it's probably never been stronger than it is now. Neither has my weird sense of deja vu. This is coming from San Francisco. Occasionally, the familiar pleasure of this fish out of water story cuts through the murky execution like a trinket catching a ray of moonlight while sinking to the seafloor.
Mm-hmm. If you go out to the top critics, which was interesting, go out to the top critics. What's interesting was earlier I was writing an article, on this, and this was before we had 79. There was like 71 or something scores in. Yeah. But when I was writing it, it started out with 64 scores, and I had triple counted how many fresh to rotten on the critic score, and it was like 10 fresh to 15 rotten. When I refreshed it after like 10 more reviews came in, it was still coming out 10 fresh, but now it was 12 rotten and 3 of the scores disappeared on the top critic scores.
So let's look, and I'm not trying to wear the tinfoil mouse ears here, but let's remember the guy in charge of Fandango, as far as I know, he's still in charge of Fandango, was a former Disney executive, and if there's manipulation going on the website, 9 times out of 10, it's for a Disney movie. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that somebody just picks up the phone and says, hey, they're review bombing our movie, and you know what to do. You know, code Bree.
Right. That's right. I think this is what's going to happen with the audience scores, too. I think it's going to be just like
I'm sure.
Normal. But I thought it was funny. Justin Chang, Los Angeles Times. What's on screen too often feels like one second-rate imitation. The few differences seem motivated less by a spirit of imagination than one of joyless anxiety. And this one's positive, a YouTube critic, a mixed bag overall, but still a must-see for Halle Bailey's breathtaking work as Ariel and Melissa McCarthy's deliciously devilish Ursula.
Not enough drag, Disney.
The Little Mermaid feels more or less like a 2-hour-plus cosplay with the texture and gravitas of a Disneyland sideshow.
Oh my God, yeah. So this isn't really going the way this
New York Post, Inverse.
These are all the...
AV Club.
Wait, AV Club gave it a negative.
Gave it a C+.
Its most iconic moments are borrowed and copied wholesale, serving as little more than a reminder of simpler days watching the clamshell VHS tapes released from the Disney Vault. Maybe that's enough for some people. Maybe like Ariel, we should want more. Here's a black lady from New York Magazine and Vulture. As the studio has done with other live-action remakes, Disney betrays its own lack of imagination and an essential misreading of what made the original children's fare such a joy to audiences in the first place. She just hates black women.
Obviously.
Yeah,
clearly.
obviously.
No, it's a mixed bag. And it was funny because when you read through the reviews, a lot of them basically are saying, Halle Bailey's great, the rest of it, sometimes you get Melissa McCarthy, but the rest of it's kind of either don't mention it at all or it's like, but the film overall is But when you read the takeaway from the critics' consensus from Rotten Tomatoes, it's amazing. It's the best. The critics agree that it's the best thing ever. With Halle Bailey making a major splash in the title role, Disney's live-action Little Mermaid ranks among the studio's most enjoyable reimaginings. Is that the vibe you got?
Yeah, not really. They said so far it is worse than 7 other live-action remakes.
Now, granted, it's early.
It is early.
To be fair, those have been around for a while. We don't have all the critic scores in and everything.
The plus side is it is better than a lot of the garbage they've been shoveling onto Disney Plus. But the Jungle Book is still 94%, which I actually do agree with. I think of the live-action Disney movies, that one was justified because the animated Jungle Book was done during a time of great duress at the Walt Disney Company. Walt had died, I think, in the middle of the production, and it really felt like it was cut way too short. But it was.
I just realized what they were listing. Pete's Dragon 88. Bullshit.
Nah.
Cinderella 83. Okay.
I forgot that existed.
Cruella 75. Mulan 72. So it's better than Mulan. It's worse than Mulan at this point. Christopher Robin.
I forgot that
72.
existed.
And Beauty and the Beast is only 71. Now this is critical score. Again, audience score has not come out. And it tends to, well, I'd say it used to tend to be more true for the audience score, but anymore, especially on a movie that's like a very polarizing film, a one that's being, leveraged for agenda, political reasons or whatever, especially and there's strong opinions on both sides. That one, you're not going to get an accurate answer even in the audience score, because the audience score is easily manipulated.
Yes.
And up and down. Inside the magic, up and down. There's concerted efforts on both sides. And so you really, unless you hope they balance each other out and cross each other out, it's very hit or miss. Plus, Disney in the past has seemed to have audience scores that suddenly went up really high out of nowhere for people with no name accounts. It just suddenly appeared to say, bot recording, best movie ever.
Best movie ever.
Best movie ever. Same talking points over and over again.
Okay, so back to China. I did not expect this movie to do well in China.
It's worse than I thought.
Regardless of the race swapping, because it does seem like China has decided. And they had a Chinese Little Mermaid movie I saw. I think it was
2016?
2016. This is the Japanese poster. But yeah, it was 2016, I think. That they had a Chinese Little Mermaid with their take on it, with action heroes and the whole thing. So they were gonna look at this and be like, "Yeah, we're not."
Well, it's like Mulan. They literally changed Mulan to appeal to China and made changes through a Chinese group that approved everything.
Yes.
And then when it released, the media was told not to cover it, and it did not do well in China. And even then, we're gonna look at the numbers. They were still better. What this is looking.
I think it's funny with Shang-Chi. It was like, yeah, so we made this movie to appeal to Chinese audiences, and then our actor decided to dunk on China right before it came out. That didn't go well.
No.
They didn't make him apologize in Mandarin, though.
No.
There's that.
You only have to do that if you're white.
So this is coming from CBR, which CBR is slowly turning into the alt-right, just like YouTube now. Report The Little Mermaid poised to flounder as Disney's worst 2023 opening in China.
I see what you did there, CBR.
I see what you did there. So this is Luis Fernando.
Yeah.
Said that ticket pre-sales for The Little Mermaid show no signs of reaction. Disney live action finished Sunday with a scary $13,000 total after 3 days of pre-sales for the whole of May 25th through 28th. Could be the worst opening ever for a Hollywood tentpole in China. Let's just reiterate, the worst opening ever. Oh, this looks like the Chinese poster, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it's the Chinese
poster without the blue. Yeah,
it doesn't say IMAX on it.
It doesn't. This is the regular. So they're literally getting the same posters. Yes. So there we go. Thank you, Louise. You helped prove a point here, but whatever. That's bad. The worst opening ever for a Hollywood tentpole in China.
Oh, wait till you see the actual, wait till you see the comparison. Go back to the CBR article. They actually give you a comparison. So they go down here and they actually spell it out for you right here. For comparison, Disney's Cruella, which was the last live-action adaptation to hit Chinese theaters, was also predicted to earn low figures and ultimately grossed $1.6 million upon opening and $24 million over its entire theatrical run in China. So even though I didn't think it was going to do well, it still did 1.6 on the opening weekend. Mulan, which was the last live-action remake released before COVID, grossed $307,000 in its day of pre-sales. Because they didn't have pre-sale numbers for Cruella, but 307. Right. And then it did hit 23 million upon opening. So the number's 13,000, but that obviously can change as people go to the theater. However, this was 307,000 in pre-sales. That was 13, not 13 million. 13,000, okay?
13,000.
And that led to 40.7 million over the course of its theatrical run in China. And they said that was a disappointment because they were told not to cover it in the media, and they said it was a bomb in China.
Yeah, they were actively telling people not to cover it. This shows a massive lack of interest. Now, look, going back to the race swapping controversy, I do believe it was Chinese fans that were kind of leading the brigade against the race swapping. There were a lot of attempts by Chinese artists to basically make her white, and it's going all over social media over there.
Yes,
yeah, that was like a whole thing. So the Chinese have not been very receptive to this. Now, I do not see them sending Halle Bailey to a Chinese talk show.
Well, now they're not. Everything has to allegedly has to be screened for unprepared journalists. The ones, which is funny. We'll tell the story again.
Yes.
When you did media and you went to the events,
yes,
they would give you a list of approved questions that you were allowed to ask, but you had to act like it was your question.
Yes.
And especially if you were on camera, they were approved questions because they had the answers programmed into whoever was answering them to the approved way of answering the questions to verbatim.
Yeah, they literally, the one time, it was like the most ridiculous thing. I'm like, my God, this is like a choose your own adventure. I think it was like a Disney ambassador or something I was talking to. They had a new Disney ambassador. And they're like, okay, fine, go ask her some questions. Okay, cool. And you get to the theater where they had her. And this was actually I want to say it was the opening of Toy Story Land. And they had them in the old animation building. Mm-hmm. And get to the theater and they had a board. Well, okay. So
was it that one or was it Galaxy's Edge? When you went in for Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, I talked to the Imagineer. Yeah, they were only certain. Like, I couldn't ask him, like, where the hell's Darth Vader? Like, I wasn't.
You weren't allowed to ask that. You were only allowed certain questions within these parameters to ask.
Yeah, and that's why when you see these, media tour, like, everything seems samey because they only have approved questions. If you go off script, you will be told that is not something we can talk about.
Well, you've seen in the past, like, especially for big, like, theater releases like this, they have media come in and they throw a curveball question and then people get pissed. The actors get really mad. And then, the next time they're not allowed to ask certain questions, because it causes a controversy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this one time, like I said, I got to the theater and they had like 20 questions on the board, like literally playing 20 questions. They had 20 questions you could choose from. You're allowed to pick like 4 of them. And it had to be some variation of what was on the board, because if you asked anything outside of that, they would not answer. And they actually had like a coach off to the side, like you could get, take video of the person you're talking to or whatever, but there was somebody off the side like, you don't talk about that, or so they all had handlers.
Yeah.
So that's what they do in these press tours. They probably sent her out by herself, or maybe they didn't speak Spanish very well or whatever, and she's just kind of like, what do I say?
But they were like spinning it like, oh my God, she was so. I saw her body language. I thought she handled it very well. If I'm being fair, she handled it pretty well, but. It's not looking good in China. Now, this comes after Avatar: The Way of Water did fantastic in China. And Guardians of the Galaxy 3 did pretty okay in China. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania bombed terribly.
So, and look, they actually have an attraction in China. They were banking on Ant-Man to do well over there. They actually have an Ant-Man, ride-through shooting something
I don't remember.
Over there.
Do they? I don't remember.
I think it's in Hong Kong.
It's hard to keep track. There's so many things.
So, look... I think they kind of knew on some level this wasn't going to do very well, but I guess Aladdin did okay over there. The Pirates movies always do okay over there, and this is one of the directors of I think it was the director of the last Pirates movie.
They like Johnny Depp over there.
Yeah, but it's Johnny Depp in it. He should have been Triton.
Was it Rob Marshall? I think.
Rob Marshall, yeah. I think
it's Rob Marshall, yeah. So I don't know, but the reviews are, they're not glowing, but they're not terrible yet. I mean, again, it's just started the embargo today, so that is obviously going to go up or down or change throughout the next couple days. We haven't seen the audience score yet, but again, that could be easily, you have to actually read the reviews when that happens, because you can tell which ones are obviously trying to raise it up and which ones are obviously trying to lower it, and you need to read between the lines. It's not looking good in China, but the post everybody is getting upset about, I really do not think that it was just a poster made to piss off or to appease China. I'm sorry, to piss off us and appease China. It was the IMAX poster, and it's actually a better poster.
Objectively, it is a better poster.
But Disney would argue they like blue people in China because Avatar. So it's not because of race. It's because we wanted to go with that color because they really like that color in China.
Blue is the color of money in China. Yeah, that blows all this out of the water. Like, no pun intended. Like a stick of dynamite. We're gonna blow it right out of the water. But yeah, it blows that whole narrative out of the water that like American movies can't perform over there because they like the Fast and Furious movies.
They like Avatar, love Avatar.
They're literally making Transformers movies at this point for China because Americans don't like them anymore. And Pirates, they would make more Pirates in a heartbeat if they could get Johnny Depp back because they love Johnny Depp over there, and the Pirates movies would make money.
Well, if they made money here too, but I don't think they make enough money here. But the Little Mermaid is something, actually the cartoon was one that Chinese audiences really liked, it seemed. And this one's already just has 13,000 in pre-sales, which, I mean, they didn't have a lot for Mulan, 300,000, but that's a far cry.
So we're talking like this could potentially be like live action gem levels of failure in China with many, many more people than we have over here. Mm-hmm. That's not good.
No.
That's not good. All right.
And again, the American box office, if it's coming in at predictions, doesn't go higher, it still puts it right in the middle of the live actions as far as the money they made at the theater. We've said that before. So it's not like it's, and it might be a better movie at the end of the day. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm just telling you where the numbers put it.
Yeah. So this is potentially going to be the worst opening ever for a Hollywood movie in China. That's not good at all. That's not something you want to see. But so I think the Aladdin actor is going to be correct. I think he's going because they need China to get to that $1 billion mark. And I think he's going to be right. He said, yeah, it's going to hit probably 700.
Well, you don't have to say that because pointing out facts is racism.
That's racism. Yes, the brown man pointed out facts that Twitter didn't like.
He's basically a white guy.
All the white people on Twitter didn't like his facts. All right, we got to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye. Sorry, I yelled loudly.
That's okay. I got the limiter on.
Okay. So
you can tell
my setting.
Yeah, you can
Wait,
tell.
Really? It automatically limits it when I yell?
It does. When the pitch gets too high, it does. Sometimes if you sound like all robotic, it's because it's bringing the decibels down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.